Look at these heroes and tell me one thing they have in common. Yes, they all can do this one really cool thing. Hooking is one of those interesting mechanics. Depending on which game you're playing, the use of the hook varies a lot. Sometimes it's used to hook an enemy and sometimes it's used for something else, but in almost every game, all it does is it moves something from point A to point B. But something interesting happens to it when you put it in the context of a competitive game. The tension, the focus, the everything else that makes your heart race. It turns hooking into a skill that is so pleasurable to hit. If you somehow press enough buttons and land enough hooks, hooking can turn from this gimmick to one of gaming's most amusing mechanics ever. Lately, I've been playing Deadlock, and the hero I find myself gravitating towards is Bebop. Out of 100 games I played in this ass game, like 90 of them was me playing with Bebop, my lovely little robot. He's not the best pick in the current meta. He falls under the F tier category in almost any fucking tier list you see online, but I don't care about that. The reason why I'm playing him is because he can do this funny little thing when I press 3 on my keyboard. I don't know why, but hooking is just so fun for me. Bebop is a good example of this, but there's a lot more examples aside from him. Pudge from Dota 2 is a close second, and as an on and off player of Dota 2, I think Pudge is a hero I always play when I'm just bored out of my mind. And I find that playing these heroes are actually more enjoyable than being the top carry in my team. The feeling of just hooking someone and hearing that audio and tactile feedback is so cool and so sticky and makes it almost irreplaceable to any mechanic for me. And maybe this is cope, but yeah, I've lost almost every fucking game on Deadlock playing this stupid ass character because I just be hooking shit. But moving away from Deadlock, there are other uses of the hook in other video games as well. In most story driven games like Uncharted, Sekiro, or Ghost of Tsushima, the hook is usually used for traversal, like hooking to houses and stuff. But even without the presence of someone to hook, having that something to grapple to and swing to is already really fun and sexy in and of itself. To be fun, like to be a fun mechanic, the hook doesn't really need someone to hook. It just needs the hook itself. And if you think about it, the hook is universal. You can almost find this hook, like this mechanic, in every single game you play. Like even Spider-Man, like the fucking game, his web slinging is technically a hook. The reason to why it's so universal is because you can really model around the mechanic a whole lot. You can use it for hooking an enemy, hooking to a tree, or hooking to an enemy but you're the one moving to the enemy, or one of my favorites, hooking someone with an urn so that it helps him claim the urn faster. We delivered the urn. There's endless and countless ways you can make this mechanic beautiful because its dynamic is prone to such creative brilliance. And so I'm open to any fucking game dev out there that's trying to make a hooking game. Call me up. I want to see what you do with the hook. Really interested on that. But a couple of ideas I have in mind is having a hooking mechanic that acts like a long ass syringe. Something used by a doctor kind of character. Like the doctor injecting his victims with like fucking chemo oil or stuff. I don't know, that would be really funny. Dota 2's Clockwork is actually another fun use of this hooking mechanic because it actually takes you to the enemy instead of the enemy to you. He also has a skill that can work synergistically with his hook, and I think this is what makes the hook mechanic so cool. It's not only the hook itself, but the set of skills in a character that can synergistically complement each other. Bebop has a punch and a bomb, both of which can complement nicely with his annoying ass grapple hook. His ultimate though is quite unrelated. It's a laser and it's an area denial skill which makes the enemies move away from him. I think there should be a reason for this, but I'm not really that smart, so tell me in the comments below. Pudge also has a really good skill synergy. He has an ultimate that can pin someone down and a toggleable DPS that's also slowing your enemies. You know, I like these kinds of synergies, man. It gives the hook characters more flavor, and who the heck doesn't want more flavor in their fucking ham sandwich? Also, one thing I realized is that almost every hook character out there has some kind of similarities. Pathfinder is a robot and so is Bebop. Pudge is fat and so is Roadhog. I don't know why, but there's just an idea or vibe that comes to mind when designers create hook characters. And I think it's along the lines of roguish, dirty, and cool loner type vibe characters. Maybe that's why I like playing them. Also, almost every hook character out there can hardly carry any team depending on the meta. They're just like a support carry character that can only really shine when you're really good at the hook or the other team is just fucking brain dead, which makes this really nice for me because it's actually a unique skill that is actually different from just you know, having good aim. To hook something correctly, like efficiently and effectively, yada yada, you actually have to have aim and have a feel for it. It's like predicting magic 8-ball shit to figure out where your enemy will be in the next second, and you have to do that like instantly in your head. The feel is hard to describe, but the best way I can compare this to is like listening to music and figuring out which music feels like an outro or an intro or like a particular vibe. You know, it's really nice to have a feel for the hook. Also, this video is just me talking about hooks, which is fine. I just love it that much that I want to make a sole video on it. I think I like them really much because it's just a fun and dynamic mechanic that is open to any creative tinkering that any person can think of. And you know, furthermore, it's just like I just like the state of hooks in video games right now. It's really nice. You know, it came from this simple tool to something that has more flavor the more it gets adapted towards genres like MOBAs or hero shooters. But anyways, fuck that motorcycle, and thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day. Bye bye.